Welcome to iCornology, and to our English language workshop on the topic of willful ignorance. Because writing in English will help you to absorb the vocabulary, we encourage you to write on a sheet of paper the words shown in blue, and to answer the questions shown in green. Feel free to pause the video as needed. For your convenience and to help facilitate your learning experience, subscribers can download a PDF of the guided notes to this lesson for you to print and write on. Simply go to iCornology/ignorance. Let's begin. Notice that a couple of words that are listed above are shown in blue. That means that you should write them on your sheet of paper or in your guided notes. Disclaimer. I'm not a philosopher or professor of philosophy. But like you, I find this subject to be interesting. Hopefully, you will have fun with this workshop. The word ignorance fundamentally refers to a lack of knowledge, information, or understanding. Beyond this basic dictionary definition, ignorance has more complex dimensions, explored in philosophy, sociology, and other fields. Some common examples of ignorance. Someone playing chess for the first time. Not knowing how to speak a foreign language. Ancient people thinking that the earth is flat. Can you think of a few more common examples? What causes people to be ignorant? Limited access to learning opportunities. Lack of informative exposure. Lack of diverse perspectives. Not being exposed to different viewpoints or ways of life can result in a narrow understanding of the world. Narrow interests or limited aptitudes. Maybe you don't like sports or you're not good at math. Cultural taboos, prejudices. Some religions forbid eating pork, so they don't know what bacon tastes like. Are ignorant people necessarily stupid? Ignorance is distinct from stupidity. It implies being uninformed, not necessarily unintelligent. Factual ignorance. The absence of knowledge of a particular fact, perhaps asking someone, "How's your mother?" while unaware that she had recently passed away. Technical ignorance, the absence of knowledge regarding how to do something, not knowing how to drive a stick-shift car. Ancient Greek philosopher Socrates famously highlighted this by claiming, "The only thing I know is that I know nothing," recognizing the limits of his own knowledge as a path to wisdom. He used a style of questioning to expose ignorance, which he saw as a structural flaw or false assumption of knowledge. The goal was to guide people toward deeper inquiry and truth, enlightenment. Some perspectives frame ignorance not as a fault, but as an opportunity. This enlightened ignorance or not knowing is seen as a stimulus for learning and investigation, opening the door to philosophical wonder and scientific discovery. How does passive ignorance differ from willful ignorance? Philosophers have distinguished between a simple absence of knowledge and a more intentional refusal to learn. Another ancient Greek philosopher, Aristotle, defined willful ignorance as the deliberate choice not to acquire knowledge. The conscious choice to remain unaware of important information, sometimes called rational ignorance when the cost of learning outweighs the perceived benefits. What are some examples of willful ignorance? Avoiding health information. What? Bacon isn't healthy? Denying problems in a relationship. My husband and I are doing fine. We're both just very busy, so we don't have time to talk very often. Ignoring a serious medical symptom. For the last few months, my stomach always hurts. It must just be stress. Can you think of a few more common examples? What are some sociological perspectives of willful ignorance? Socially constructed. In sociology, ignorance is not a simple void but a socially constructed phenomenon. Like knowledge, what is considered unknown or irrelevant can be shaped by social forces. Why might the news that we read be a source of socially constructed ignorance? Strategic ignorance. This describes the deliberate production and maintenance of ignorance for tactical reasons, such as gaining resources, avoiding liability, or asserting power. A prime example is the tobacco industry's long-standing effort to sow public doubt about the link between smoking and cancer. Describe another example of strategic ignorance. Pluralistic ignorance. In a situation when a majority of a group privately disagrees with a social norm, pluralistic ignorance is when the same majority conforms to it anyway because they incorrectly assume that most others accept it. What might be a good example of pluralistic ignorance? Structured ignorance. This refers to systems or structures that conceal or reveal information in particular ways, preventing certain groups from developing an accurate understanding of social issues. This can manifest in formal systems, like academic funding priorities, or informal rules about what is taboo to discuss. What might be a good example of structural ignorance? Why is passive ignorance usually easier to combat than willful ignorance? While improved access to education is the best weapon against passive ignorance, it doesn't stop even the most intelligent worldly people from extracting only the knowledge that suits them. Many people choose to remain ignorant to maintain a positive view of themselves. Remaining ignorant can be a socially adaptive behavior, especially within a group where certain viewpoints are protected. For example, one's viewpoint on Israel, one way or the other. One's convictions are often based more on emotions than facts. Ways to overcome willful ignorance in ourselves and others? Because willful ignorance is a motivated state, simply presenting new information is not enough to change a person's mind. Effective interventions must address the underlying emotional and psychological reasons for the behavior. Acknowledge bias. The process starts by encouraging individuals to recognize their own blind spots and biases. Why do I think this way? Challenge assumptions. Engage with people who hold different perspectives in respectful dialogue, rather than attacking their character. Provide digestible information. For people overwhelmed by complex issues, presenting digestible, easy-to-understand information can make it easier to engage with difficult topics. Foster critical thinking. Help people develop critical thinking skills to evaluate information based on evidence and logic, rather than emotion. Demonstrate critical thinking yourself by questioning your own assumptions and explaining your reasoning. Today's activity. Your assignment is to think of several examples of willful ignorance, as well as some actionable real-world ways that we might be able to combat them. Create a table listing them, which you can email to info@ichronology.com. Once received, I will compile the lists that you all send me. Since these ideas belong to all of us, anyone who emails me at info@ichronology.com will be sent a copy to help them remember this workshop. Perhaps you will discuss them with your friends. If so, try to share them in English. Wrap up. Is there anyone in this world who isn't ignorant? Do city people usually know how to grow their own vegetables? Information, on any topic, is more available in today's world than ever before. Why are people still ignorant? How did Socrates and Aristotle each view ignorance? How might people take advantage of the ignorance of those that trust them? Ignorance can often be dangerous. Can ignorance ever be a good thing? If so, then when? How can we help combat ignorance, whether passive or willful? Thank you. Please check our channel to see if new videos are available. You can also visit us at ichronology.com.